Hello and welcome to part 2 of my roster review video for Blood Bowl 2025. If you are coming in fresh from this, I'll put the link to the first video below, which kind of explains, the first couple of minutes explains like what you'll be looking at and stuff, so you can have a look at that before coming back to find the particular roster you're interested in. And I'll make sure the link to this spreadsheet is also in the note for this video, so that you can have a look in your own time. So next up we have Khorne. Khorne are a tough team, honestly. I've put them as D-rated. They have they're very difficult to play, and the good thing is there's less guard in the game now, right? So you know, them frenzy trapping themselves into guard, etc., is less likely. Orcs, one of their hard matchups is they can outstrength them a bit now and bully them potentially, although they're gonna get banged out. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a slightly better matchup for them now. I don't know. It's hard to say. They were in the previous edition outrageously expensive, and now they're just standardly overpriced, rather than sort of like horrifically unaffordable as they were before. So it opens up a little bit more you can do with them. Losing two of their more expensive positionals has also helped in the ability to get, you know, more pieces on the pitch as well. So let's have a look at what we've got here. Minimum viable, I said, is 1150. Just don't bother if it's less than this. You've got nothing if you've got less than this. So 1150, here we are. 12 players, all your positionals, and 5 of these terrible linemen. So I've said that gives you free rerolls as well. You'll note no Apo. Most of the rosters for the real teams that I've showed before, like non-stunty stuff, have an Apo. And not having one is going to hurt, especially as the Apo is better now. So yeah, 3 rerolls. I've said 6 skills, one of them being a secondary. What is that going to give you? You need the secondary, right? Because presumably the reason you're playing Khorne is because you've got the big guy, the Bloodsworn, right? It's fun, block claws, mighty blow, kill stuff, and have fun. Like there's probably some other stuff you can do without it, but I just don't see the point in looking at those, especially now the Khorne goals are gone as well. You're just replacing it with more terrible linemen. It just seems, yeah, pointless. So yeah, you need secondary to block him up, and then 4 block on the Bloodseekers as well. So you know, no any elite skill cap is just rules these guys out. And then you've got 1 skill left, so probably a Guard Khorne. Pretty bare bones. It can fight, so great. I've not put any stars. The roster's too expensive to afford any stars. Right, what is the ideal scenario for Khorne? 1200. So you need a big package here. That gives you still 12 players, but now you've got the Apo. So it's exactly the same as before, just adding the Apo and just more skills. So yeah, block, maybe a 2 heads Khorne or another guard, and maybe a wrestle liner or something like that. You know, just give you a bit more. If you get a stack as well, that could be good. So maybe you could do like a block 2 heads Khorne, because obviously the problem with Khorne is they'll just go off and do their own thing. It's quite hard to keep them all together going forwards. So you know, sometimes you're going to need to dodge with the ball carrier. So having 2 heads for that is going to increase the reliability a bit. And yeah, I've put them as D-rated. I don't rate them. I think they're still terrible, but slightly more affordable now, I suppose. Next up, lizards. So again, I've not put stars here. Again, they're too expensive. You can't afford stars. what are the skills we're looking for? Block, block, block. Elite skill cap doesn't really work for these guys. As long as it's not a hard cap. Well, actually, no. If you could do it right, because you take 4 block, and then you can have a leader. Anyway, so let's have a look what I've gone for my minimum viable. 1120. This is 11 players, and I've said a minimum skill allowance of 5 primaries. What does this get you? This gets you 3 normal skinks, 1 chameleon skink, 6 saurus, and a crocs. And you take those 5 primaries and you take 5 block, if you can. If there's a cap, if it was like this bare bones and then there was a cap on block as well, then I just wouldn't even bother. So yeah, so that's 5 block. What is what I would do here, and there it is. So what would I do for a more generous package? So for a more generous package, I'd be looking at a total of 1180. This is where options start to open up. Really, maybe well, no, yes. So 1180. This is where you can start getting more than just a bare 11. So this gives you 12 players, as I've alluded to, and I've said 8 primaries here, but 7 would be good as well. So if 1180 and 7, it would be really good. Very strong, actually. I still think this is strong, actually. 1125 block is fine. 2 rerolls is less bad for them now because they can secure the ball. So that, the horror of the 3+ is slightly alleviated, and it's now just a bit of a scary 2+. But yeah, so 1180 and 8 or 7. What are you getting? You'll notice now the chameleon, which you have, has primary passing access, so you can just take leader. Right, great. That's our 3 rerolls. We've got the Apo. We've got 12 players, and then you've got 6 or 7 skills left. 6 block Saurus and a guard Crocs or a stand firm Crocs. I've also put tackle and frenzy here as well, because you can consider it, right? If there is like I've seen some tournaments, for example, the Welsh Open is doing a cap on 4 elite, 4 maximum of any given elite skill. So you could have like 4 block, 4 guard. But yeah, and if you were to be playing in that kind of scenario, then you could take 4 block, and then a frenzy Saurus, which is not terrible because they have Juggernaut now, so that's quite good. Or you could have a tackle one, so and you can put that. You can use that passively, putting it next to the prehensile towel, or you can put it onto one of the Saurus, and you can blitz with Juggernaut and tackle because they've got Juggernaut now, the Saurus. So you're not risking the 1 in 9 to either turn over or burn a reroll. So that makes it better. I think there's probably going to be less edge in the game now. So, although actually there's going to be a lot more stun to you, maybe, but then you can smash them with block anyway. So I don't know, but yeah, frenzy's probably better, and obviously guard as well. You could just take a guard one if you're sort of bumping up against a cap. Next, we have Necromantic, which is our second S tier. 2 of 2 that I've put in here as S tier for BB2025. Why are they so good? They've got cheaper, they've got more skills, and they were already strong. So yeah, amazing. They've not lost any guard access either, which is huge. So what is the bare roster? We have, I've said 1070 here, and that gives you 12 players. And I said you want 6 skills. This is your kind of like, you might even be able to do it with 5, but I think you're likely to see this kind of thing. thing. So, you know, if there's, as I expect to see within the first sort of like 6-12 months of BB 2025, I imagine a lot of tournaments will just go flat 1100 and 6 skills or something like that, maybe 7 for the weaker teams or whatever. So you could definitely see this as being, you know, there. What does this get you? What players are you getting? You're getting 5 zombies. They've got eye gouge now, which might be good. Who knows? We need to really play with it. You got a couple of ghouls. They have regen now, which is very good. You have the race, which are still excellent. The flesh golems, which are still excellent. And I've got 1 wolf here, so that's a compromise. That's how we're getting down to 1070. What 6 skills are you taking? You're taking 4 guard on the things that can take guard. The werewolf's taking block, and then we've got you skill up one of the ghouls, either wrestle or either wrestle or block. Up to you. It depends whether you want to carry on a blodger or you're happy carrying on a dodge piece and having the wrestles, the sack threat. I'll also add dirty player here as well. It's only 12 players, but look, the zombies have primary devious access, so you know, I suppose you could do. I'm not going to put Mighty Blow there because that would hurt my soul, but I suppose you could take a Mighty Blow Wraith and a dirty player zombie and go that route as well and try and do a bit of removal. Like, it's not terrible, is it? I wouldn't do it, but yeah. There you go, 3 rerolls, lovely. Now, what have we got for the ideal package? Now, this is like dreamland. Okay, it's 1150. You've got your 12 players now, and you've got all of the good ones, and 8 skills. If this package, you see it, and coming up in a tournament, take Necro, because I guarantee you this will be the well, I can't guarantee you, but they will be, if not the strongest race, they'll be the top 3, depending on what other stuff gets in the thing. But yeah, this is outrageously strong. Yeah, 4 guard, block werewolves, block wrestle ghoul, and you're away, aren't you? 3 rerolls. It's all there. And the ghouls come back if they randomly get Gaz now as well. Incredibly good, incredibly strong. On to the next one. Next up, we have Norse. Now, Norse, I think, are better. I would have given them B ranking in BB 2020 overall. I've put it to A. This is a tentative A. We're going to need to see how the meta shakes out a little bit, but I think now one of the problems they had was they struggled to fight into strength, and 2 teams, most notably, were real banana skins for them, and that is Orcs and Undead. Orcs have lost a couple of their big uns, so you know they're a bit less strong now. They should be tiered quite high, I think, so they shouldn't have too much guard. You're going to be able to bring probably a comparable amount of guards to them to the pitch, and then you've got a couple of strength 4 pieces as well. So you know, I think this is contextually they're just a bit better. I think. Also, look, like they've got loads of block. It's all coming there. You've got it already. They've got cool frenzy. The Valks are still amazing. So yeah, I think they're good, and I think they're A tier. So let's see how they go in the but pretty good. So what have I said for minimum viable? 1130. I've said that gives you 13 players, and I've said you want 6 primaries, which, funnily enough, you have 6 positionals here. I've not gone the Yeti. So yeah, 6 positionals. What skills do you want? We've got 1 pig as well for Vowling and Pick Me Up and just general bench. 3 rerolls and an Apo. So the Apo is really important for Norse because they're quite flimsy and vulnerable. And you want to, especially if you lose the toss, you want to try and like fight back and do damage on your defense and hopefully stop them. And then, you know, the big bench and the Apo, ideally you'll be in a position where you can field 11 players for your drive and either then push for the win or the draw, depending on what happened on your defense, and how things have gone generally. So, yeah, pretty good. What skills are you putting on the players? Berserkers, the two Berserkers. I like one Mighty Blow and one Guard. I mean, you could take tackle if you was into that, but I don't think that's necessary really. With all the frenzy and the strip ball as well. So the Valkyries, what are they taking? I should have put wrestle here because wrestle is a good option for them as well. So Valks, yeah, block, dodge, or wrestle. Play around with it, see what you like. I like to dodge, but yeah, up to you. Ulf Veroners are getting. I think it it used to be two guard, right? Because you just desperately needed guard on the pitch. But I think there may now be a possibility to start looking at one block, one guard. I think you just need to look at the rules pack, see what's strong, and yeah, 1-1 might be a go now, and just going down to 2 overall guard. That could be a viable thing. So yeah, we'll be interested to see how that develops. Then we have the sort of bigger package here. This is 1180. This is 13 players. This is 7 skills, and we have a secondary, and I said a stack as well. So this is kind of like war. I don't think you'll be seeing this very soon, but you know, as the rules sort of progress, just generally tournaments will get more generous. So you might see this kind of thing in a year or two. What have we got here? We've got the Yeti now. We've got the big boy. Hence why we want the secondary, so you can block it up. And then yeah, you've got 6. What have we paid for that? One of the berserkers we've lost. We've got 6 linos, 1 pig, and then we've got the 2 valks and the 2 alfs. We've got the 3 rerolls and the apo. So it's 13 players with an apo, so it's still relatively resilient, and you can do serious damage here. Then we've got the stack, so I think just straight Mighty Blow. I wouldn't do tackle Mighty Blow on the Berserker because sometimes you just can't blitz with it, and you're blitzing with the Yeti as well, depending, because you want to keep them up the drive. So you know, you could even go guard on the one Berserker you have. That might be better actually, because you've got the killer Yeti. And then the stack is probably either like a Blodge or a Rog Valk or block guard on one of the elves. Probably block guard is what I'd fancy personally, but yeah, up to you. So that's your kind of ideal Norse situation. Next up, we have my favourite team, Nurgle, and they've had a big glow up, and I've put them as A because I believe they're good. I think. So what has changed with them? First of all, they've got a lot cheaper. So you can actually like put a team together now. Wow. The bloaters have got a lot better because not only are they 5k cheaper, they've also got stand firm now, and they've kept foul appearance and all the other annoying skills. So they are amazingly annoying for your opponent to deal with. And the rot spawn's got pick me up. So that means basically if the bloater's within 3 squares of the rot spawn who's standing up and you're staring down the barrel of it, it's basically pointless hitting the bloaters because they're, you know, I think they've got about 3/4 of a chance to just block you back, which is outrageous. So what is my minimum viable? 1100. This gives you 12 players, all of the positionals. I've said 6 primaries. I think this is doable, you know. I think you can do it. What skills are we taking? both the pesticles are taking block. Sadly, I just don't think there is space for a wrestle pesticle anymore, which I love. The wrestle pesticle was always useful for when your opponent got desperate and potatoed because you'd crushed them so much, you'd smothered them so much. You had the wrestle pesticle to like go and hit the ball, maybe have to do a dodge out or whatever. But there's a pretty reliable chance of, and he's horns as well, so there's a pretty reliable chance of getting the wrestle on the ball. I just don't think there's room for that anymore. Both of the pesticles need to be fit and ready to carry the ball because there's only two of them, which is the major problem and why like they can't be S tier obviously because the offense is not good, but the defense is amazing. So yeah, both pesticles are block, and then with these 6 primaries, I'd probably do two block, 2 guard bloaters, maybe 3 block, 1 guard actually, because the there's less guard in the game and you're naturally strong. So yeah, maybe five block, 1 guard, something like that. Is probably better. So yeah, amazing. We'll talk about Monstrous Mouth in a second, but I do want to talk about it. Right, so this is the big package. Total cost 1140. Nurgle are finished at 1140 now. They don't have anywhere to go after 1140. So which is incredible really to think about, because before 1200 wasn't even enough. So yeah, 1140. If you get more than that in a tournament, I mean, obviously, if you go into a 1200 tournament, then the reroll's 60k, just bump up, get a 4-3 roll. You're probably going to need to do some 4+ dodges on your drive to get it done if you're up against a good coach. So, yeah, 4-3 roll's not going to hurt at all, obviously. So that's nice. So this is 13 players now. So we've got a little bit of flexibility to do some, booting of nice, well, anything that's on the floor, because rolls are terrible. So fine, just have a little stamp. It's all good. 9 skills, I've said here. This would be a very, very, very good package, and I don't recommend any TOs to give Nurgle 9 skills at the moment, because I think they're going to be upsetting people basically, because they're going to be horrible to play against. I don't think they're necessarily going to win a lot because of the aforementioned issues with the offense. But yeah, they're going to be pretty horrible to play into. So what would we do with all these skills? Block Crossborn, obviously, with a secondary. The stack, I'd probably just like block guard on one of the bloaters, and then we've got block beastman, maybe a DP rotter, a couple of block rotters would be good as well. So yeah, really good. Also with the stacks, you could consider a monstrous mouth. This is a new skill on I think it's a 3-up or a 4-up. It replaces a block, so you can do it as part of a blitz if you want to, and you just roll the, I think it's 3-up, and your opposition is basically rooted in place until they can move you. You will note, as previously mentioned, bloaters now have stand firm, right? So if you can get a chomp in, there are 2 like applications for this. One obviously is doing the ball, but then if you can chomp the ball, you're probably blitzing it. Second one is if your opponent has a nice valuable player that you want to punch and maybe accidentally step on, just go and chomp them, and then you can surround them, maybe put the tentacles on, and if you've got like a block mighty blow or something, go and stand that next to it as well. And then next turn on your opponent's war dancer, you can take a couple of hits and step on it or something. And then it goes away. So that's nice. I think it's going to be super funny. So yeah, let's see how they go. I think that there may be even an argument of just doing a monstrous mouth bloater, 1 bloater straight to monstrous mouth, and see. I might try that over the coming months and just see how it works, how often it pops up, and that, and if it's good. So yeah, we'll give it a go and see. Next up, we have ogres. I won't confess to being knowledgeable about ogres at all. I don't play them. I think they're terrible. I will have to check them off the list at some point, obviously. What I've given here is like a chassis for like a star abuse build. They've got quite good star access. So Bomber, if it's not banned for some reason, Varag, Fungus is quite funny. Pafark is crazy good, obviously. Skrorg is decent. And Ripper's great with Bullseye with the Noblas, so that's a good bit of fun. But yeah, this is a 15-man roster, 3 ogres, punter, no rerolls. I put it. That gives you 420 left to get a star or two, get a reroll. Decide what you want to do. I've said you probably want 6 skills with 2 secondary left after this, so you can do a couple of block, maybe a guard, maybe a break tackle, a couple of DPs, that kind of thing. Or a sure hands ogre. If you're going to play ogres like without abusing stars, then you'll obviously up the ogre numbers. You can give 1 sure hands and stuff like that. So to be the carrier, because these guys are unsteady. Yes, they're not unsteady. They're big guys, so they can't secure the ball. So if you've not got a star, you have to carry on one of the ogres. So sure hands is the way probably. So yeah, DC, I don't think they're very good, but maybe I'm wrong. Old World Alliance next. So Old World Alliance are they are the most buffed team since 2020. I was thinking Necro, obviously Necro Incredible, as we previously mentioned, but they were good before, and Old World Alliance weren't, and now they are. So yeah, huge glow up for Old World Alliance. They've benefited from the human positionals and the human positionals and the dwarf positionals, but not the linemen, being buffed because of the changes to rosters. So yeah, we've got some pretty neat little players here. What does that all mean for the roster? So I've said your minimum viable is 10 AE, so they're playable under 1100. That gives you 12 players, 6 primaries, 2 rerolls, and an Apo. You have a human thrower, so you can just chuck leader on that, get up to 3 rerolls. And then you've got 5 skills left after that. So I like the tree. I really like the tree now because it's not loner anymore, because it's a halfling tree. So I like the tree. The problem with it before was just the immediate route, and then you're in a world of trouble. But now I think you can afford to like throw a reroll an early route, and you need to only get it 4 or 5 squares off the pitch, and then it's done. So that's good. Potentially, I haven't played it yet, obviously, but I think that's what I would initially go to. Then we've got what else do we have here? A couple of linos. We've got halfling to throw with the tree, which is obviously good because one turn is a pretty good one turn as one turners go with no loner on the tree and that. So we've got the human catcher. I think what I'll do with the stalling rules now, movement 8 is high movement is almost like a neg trait on your ball carrier, right? Because that affects how close you can go to the end zone. If you go into range, you could see situations where your where your opponent like just stops defending and lets you take the stalling role and all this. It's going to be really horrible, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna look at making this a wrestle piece and have it as a Roger, bit of a sweeping, sacking threat. And then on your offense, you can always like hand off to it and run in at the end if you need to. Obviously, ideally, you won't be doing that, but yeah. So that's what I'm going to do with it at the start and see how that works. What else have we got? The dwarf blockers come with block. They don't take any skills. They're finished. And the human blitzer and the dwarf blitzer both got tackle now, so it's really good. So yeah, where are the skills going? Right. So we've got leader thrower. We've got a wrestle catcher, guard tree probably, guard troll slayer, guard dwarf blitzer, mighty blow human blitzer. There you go. So you've got your 3 guard strength 6 thing, tackle mighty. Yeah, pretty decent, right? what does this look like in an ideal world then? I've upped the cash to 1150 here. Still on the 12 players. We've got the halfling. What's happened now is we've now got the third reroll. So the rest of the build is the same. We've now got the third reroll. I would still stick leader on the thrower here because, like I said before, I want to be quite aggressive with the tree, and especially now it's got block. Like, we really want to ram that around the first few turns and make the opponent kind of react off it, if possible. I think it's quite good. Rest of the skills are largely the same. We've got a couple more now. You can do all sorts with that, really, like wrestle lineman or something like that. Yeah, up to you guys. But yeah, this looks pretty solid, I think. So OWA are going to be good. Right, what have we got next? We've got orcs now. Orcs are a weird one because we all thought they were going to be absolutely devastated by the rules changes, but yeah, they lost 2 blitzers, so 2 block pieces, but the remaining 2 blitzers have been given break tackle, which is obviously good because, you know, mobile blitzers are good, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is the big uns. They've lost 2 of them, so you know, you're thinking, oh god, I've lost 2 strength 4, we're in tatters. No, no, no. These 2 big uns have gained Mighty Blow, Taunt, and Fixed Goal. So they're incredible. They're incredible. You give them block, and they are block, Mighty Blow, Fixed Goal monsters. You can't remove them. They're just coming after you, and they're going to be laying on some serious damage. You've got 3 Mighty Blow on the roster to start with. So the starting damage output is on par with Renegades, but these guys don't go stupid. And you can re-roll it when they 1 in 9. And you've given them block anyway, so, you know, if they dub score, you can re-roll it. Great, great players. And they will really be dominant, I'm sure, in NAF style. So therefore, what have I said for viability? We've lost all these positionals, so it's actually quite cheap now. Team roster comes in at 1070. And that gets you 5 primaries. Sorry, my mouse has just stopped working. Let me finish this bit and then I can take a break. Right, so yeah, 5 primaries. What are you doing with those 5 primaries? You're giving the troll guard, you're giving 2 blitzers guard, you're giving 2 blockers block. So you've got 3 guard, 2 block. And you're just smashing stuff with your lovely orcs. So you're happy. That's all good. So I think that's perfectly viable and will work. What do we want in an ideal world? What is an outrageously overpowered orc roster? 1145, 13 players. I've said 8 skills with a secondary here. So that's obviously your block troll. The big ones are still getting block. So you have 3 block mighty blow pieces, which is outrageous. 3 rerolls and an Apo. The other skills, guard blitzers. I've put a couple of throwers in here. So yeah, Mr. Throw's gone up to movement 6 as well. So we've got a couple of block throwers. You can have a DP gobbo. This roster is damage central. It's absolutely brutal. So next. So next we have Shambling Undead. This is a team that was hit, in my opinion, quite hard by the changes to rosters. They've lost 2 goals. This takes them down to 4 ball carriers, and 2 of those potential ball carriers you don't want carrying the ball. You want them smashing stuff and using their guard. So, yeah, some people seem to think this is okay. I think they've taken a big hit, and I think they're really not going to be that strong in NAF style. What they gained for losing the 2 goals. So, the 2 goals that remain have regen. The 2 whites have gained tackle and fixed goals, so that's good. They stay on the pitch a bit more. And the zombies have got eye gouge and devious access, so they keep their abilities to take dirty player, and they'll be able to eye gouge stuff. You know, jury's out on how effective that will be. I don't know. Maybe it's super strong. Maybe they're fine. But my initial thought is they're struggling a bit, honestly. Right, what do I think is a viable roster? They're cheap. They're super cheap because they've lost their goals, right? 1040, 12 players. I've said 6 primaries, which gets you skills on all the positionals. Because the whites have the tackle now, I don't think there is any space for wrestle goals now. So I think in my mind it's 2 blodgers, 1 guard, 1 mighty blow on the whites. So you've got a tackle mighty, and then a couple of guard on the mummies. That's where you are, right? I think that's pretty much it. So yeah. And then yes, so that's I think basically undead. You can put another zombie on top of that, and then give them, if they've got 7 primaries, you can take a block skeleton or something, or maybe you could. You could take a skeleton maybe and give it block. So you've got a movement 5 block thing that if it can be a bit of a blitzer and can secure the ball because the zombies are unsteady. But to be honest, if you're in that situation that you're having to secure the ball on a skeleton, you've probably lost the game anyway. So yeah, just probably another zombie and give it block or DP something. And build for success, probably. On the stars, I've only put 1, and it's Ivan. And my ideal roster, I've actually lent into that. They get 1150. They are able to take stars and they don't have to pay a tax, then you can actually just do the 11 players. You still get all your positionals. You get a couple of rerolls, so we're losing a reroll, but you get Ivan. So you've got a strength 4 block, juggernaut, tackle, strip ball, beast. And then at that stage, that's pretty intimidating for your opponent. There's 2 strength 5 pieces, a strength 4. You've got loads of guard, loads of tackle, mighty blow. It's quite potent, really. And I think that's probably the way to go. So TOs, please keep it to 1150 maximum for shambling undead if you're giving them star access, because this is going to be quite a lot to deal with, even though it's still 2 rerolls. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at with undead. Next up, we have the decimated roster that is Skaven. There's not much left for these guys, sadly. They've lost 2 of the best players in the game into the bin. And yeah, it's hard. I've purposely not built like a Star Caddy roster here because, look, if you want to do that kind of thing, you can just do it with Underworld, and Underworld do it better, right? Which is the sort of abuse stars, foul stuff, 1 turn. Like, if you're going to play that, just do it with Underworld because they do it better. There's no point doing it with Skaven. So the 2 rosters I've built for here are like trying to play Blood Bowl with what is left of Skaven, which I don't think is really viable, but here we are anyway. This is it. It's 13 players. I've said minimum to do this is 8 primaries, and I'll explain what my theory is for doing this is. Right, we've got a Roger, we've got 2 blitzers, we've got 2 guards, we've got a thrower, we've got 7 lime rats, we have 3 rerolls and an Apo, so it's 13 men, 3 rerolls, Apo, so that's actually quite a lot, right? What are all these skills going to be used for, you ask? First of all, you have a Juggernaut Roger, obviously, because you're still building into the 1 turn, because that is going to be a key part of getting results with this. You have 2 primaries, which in my way of doing this, you give them both guard, right? Because now there is less guard in the game. And actually, like 2 guard and a strength 5 thing is going to be roughly, you're not going to be massively outstrengthed by too many rosters. Obviously, there are still Renegades and Tomb Kings, which you haven't covered yet, and Snotlings, which you haven't covered yet. But so there are some, but a lot of the normal teams, you're not actually going to be down too much strength and too much guard if you're taking that. So that's 3 skills. The gutters, one's block, one's sidestep, I think. Sidestep for the 1 turn, which is going to be super important. So you want to optimize that, and then block on the other one just to keep it alive. The thrower is going to take block because that's probably going to be doing quite a bit of ball carrying, I'd imagine, because you want both of the other gutters as like handoff threats. If you get a secondary, you could even put 2 heads on it, which I haven't said here, but yeah, that's an option as well. So what have we done? That's 7 skills. Sorry, no, that is 4, 5, 6 skills. What are these 2 extra skills being used for? You're giving wrestle to line rats. Now, we've got 2 block blitzers, 2 wrestle line rats, a block thrower and a block gutter, right? And a jugs or roger. Actually, we're getting into the stage now where there's quite a few combat skills here. You are going to be able to, with the guard, the wrestle, and a little bit of creative play, you are going to be able to maneuver things where you can essentially like chain push the strip ball onto the ball, strip ball blitzer onto the ball, chain push the rogo onto the cage corner, something like this. You know, like you're going to have to like go in, turn it into a bit of a bundle, and just hope the ball pops up where one of your 2 gutter runners can pop in, grab it, and ideally give it to the other one and bugger off down the other end of the pitch with. You know, this isn't reliable, and I think it's hard, but you can do it. But you really do need this many skills to make it remotely viable. And obviously, you can do the, as I mentioned before, you can do the kind of like fouling, not really playing defensive drives, just doing a 1 turn thing. But I don't see the point in building for that when Underworld exists. What have I done with the ideal? I've just given them more money, another 50k for another reroll, because this style of trying to actually play Blood Bowl is going to be reroll intensive for them, because they're down strength and stuff, and they're probably going to be down men quite quickly because they're quite removable. And then yeah, just more skills. So a stack, I don't even know what I'd use a stack for here. Probably blodge step on the sidestep gutter runner just to keep it alive. You can't afford to lose one. If you lose one, you're in dire straits. So yeah, probably that. And then yeah, just more combat skills and try and fight. It's pretty bleak. I've given them the D rating because you know no one's going to give them 8 primaries. No TO is going to give them 8 primaries because it's just not going to be in people's brains that they're this bad, and they are this bad. In my humble opinion. Next up, we have Snotlings. Now, I did consider putting these in S tier, or give them an S tier rating. I didn't because they are quite, well, they're heavily reliant on stars. So what have I done here? Again, this is not like the standard 2 roster format that you've seen before, so I'll explain what I've done here. I have built like a pretty basic chassis, which is 12 players. It's 1 reroll. It's 4 Snotling linemen. It's 4 of these Snotling positionals, which are important for exerting tackle zones and protecting your gutter runner, whichever one of them you're taking. There is 1 flinger for use on defense. There is 1 pump wagon. There are 2 trolls. So that basic package, and there are righteous rookies, which are mandatory to take. That basic package is 12 men, 720k. Now, I've just these are the sort of main stars that you're going to be wanting to abuse. The skill allowance, I've said NA, you don't need any. If you do have some, take some block trolls and a pass flinger, maybe a block pump wagon. If you've got more skills than that and you're getting these stars, then God knows what the tournament pack is. And I really feel sorry for your opponents. But then you can start looking at dirty player and diving tackle as well, and then it becomes just absolutely egregious. I mean, snotlings, if you're giving them access to these stars up here, should not have any skills at all. So, what are the options that we can do with this leftover 430k? This is a leftover from 1150, so I'm assuming they get 1150. Obviously, if they get more, they get more. So, again, they should not be getting more, but there we go. I'm sure it will happen somewhere. What are the options you could do with this? So these are obviously not exclusive options, but yeah, one thing you consider for the 430k is Galart, Skitter, a Snotling, and a reroll. So 2 rerolls, well, hey, outrageous. You could take that other pump wagon, you could take Creek and Skitter, you'd lose a Hopper, but that's net 430k, so not bad, is it? Or you could just have Ripper, Skitter, and a coach. Why not? So yeah, these guys are toxic and good. So yeah, expect to see a lot of these guys. Tomb Kings are up next. One of the box teams. They've not been updated much since their Teams of Legend era. What have they got? They've got a buff because the throwers are up to AV9 plus, which is great for them. And the Tomb Guardians have Brawler. So that's really great as well. What have I said for the minimum viable roster here? 1100, which, you'll notice a lot of these rosters are, price very similar. Anyway, so 1100, 12 players, and 6 primaries. That gives us 3 rerolls, all of the positionals, and yeah, like I said, 12 players. What are we doing with the skills? Probably a Mighty Blow Blitzer, maybe a Tackle Blitzer, 4 guard on the Team Guardians, maybe a Mighty Blow, something like that. That's what you're living, but maybe a block thrower to carry the ball on. That's where you're at basically. So plenty of good options. They're super strong, and with less guard in the game, the stocks are rising for Tomb Kings. I think these are going to be a lot to deal with. I think a lot of people are going to be playing them because obviously they're going to be in the box, and they're much the stronger of the 2 teams in the box. So expect to be playing against a lot of Tomb Kings. And yeah, it's probably going to be hard. I've been playing a few years now, and I've not played against much Tomb Kings, and it's always a hard game because I'm just not used to it. So yeah, I'll be getting used to it, I'm sure. So as will we all. What have I said for the ideal roster? There's not. They're a bit like Nurgle actually in Tomb Kings. Is there's not much. There's not far for them to go. Once you've added another skeleton here, they're done, aren't they? Really, 1140 is. You can add another reroll if it's 1200 cash for the tournament. But yeah, I'm not sure how much value you get out of the 4 rerolls. Generally, 3 rerolls should be enough to get your sort of standard drive done. And if your standard drive goes wrong, the 1 reroll is probably not going to save you. Allowance I've put is 8 primaries, and that just gets every single one of your positional skilled up with block, tackle, guard, mighty blow, whatever you want to put on them, whatever filth you want to create. So yeah, good team. They'll be good. Next up, we have Underworld. Underworld have been buffed by because Skaven were destroyed, so they've got the move plus and the strip ball on their blitzer. They've got the stab on the gutter. So yeah, they're doing well out of that. So someone wins, which is nice. I've only done 1 roster here because bloody Underworld. So you can kind of do what you want with them. There's no real limit to, like, you'll see this is 1085. We've got the most expensive big guy. We've got all of the players, the reroll, the Apo. We've got a bribe. You know, there isn't really any compromise to do with this roster. You know, decide what you want to do, whether it's Rat Ogre or Troll. I put the Rat Ogre here, but you know, it's, I would probably say the Troll personally. What have I done? I've said Bullseye, but if you took the Troll, you could do a Bullseye Troll, right? It's quite funny, isn't it? Because you just throw the Snotling at the cage and then hope it pops out, and if it does, you've got the cutter. So it's pretty horrific. Monstrous Mouth as well, you could give to Snotlings, which is just hilarious. Like, they can sidestep, stay in contact, and keep the Monstrous Mouth active. Dirty Player on the Goblins now is really good, so that's another buff for them. And they've got Star Access, which is good, so if they're allowed stars for some reason, you can abuse these as well. Like a Glot is nice here. Glot on a Troll with his Juggernaut and Frenzy once a game, and you've got either a sidestep or a two-head scar to make a super strong one turn. So yeah, these are good. These are tier A. I've rated these as A. They'll be tiered quite highly in tournaments, I think, because nobody wants to see them played because their playstyle was quite sort of anti-Blood Bowl. So yeah. Next up, we have Vamps. The roster itself is pretty much unchanged, I believe. The main problem with Vamps now is that the Hypno Gaze is always a 3+, regardless of modifiers and tackle zones, etc. So that is obviously a bit of a buff and a bit of a nerf, all combined in one. I won't pretend to be a vampire expert, but I did ask Carl Torquemada, and he is not too down on it. I think it takes away some of the complexity in the play, which is actually going to be good for newer players picking them up, because it doesn't really matter where you hypno from, it's always a 3+. So you don't have to think about like chains of hypnos to make the optimal sort of 2+ for the key one or anything like that. You just throw them in, roll some threes, and hope it all goes well. What does this mean for the roster? So I've done the sorry, I've done the standard sort of talk build here from the last edition. 1100. This is what I've said is viable, but you know, I'm happy to be corrected if people. I wouldn't play them regardless of what package they had. So you know, it's difficult for me to say, but yeah. So what have we got here? We've got 7 thralls. We've got the 6 vamp positionals, 13 players, and I've said 6 skills here. I think it's probably the same as before. The runners have to get dodged, don't they? The throwers is block or dodge, and then the blitzers are frenzy, strip ball. You could put pro and maybe a block one as well. So yeah, I think it's pretty well rehearsed. This is the kind of as you were roster option. No Apo here, and obviously the Apo is better now because it happens after the regen. You can regen first and then Apo, so super good now. Yeah, 3 rerolls. Oh, sorry, you're taking leader on one of the throws. I want you to get up to 4 rerolls. So let me just put that in there. So yeah, that's the kind of as you were. Now, another thing I spoke to Carl about, and he mentioned the Varg. He thinks maybe back in play now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I've said this is the ideal thing. This is 1200, so it would have to be a tournament where everyone's getting 1200 because they're not going to be tiered low or anything like that. But yeah, now I've said the Varg comes back into play. We've got 4 rerolls, still no Apo. We've upgraded one of the blitzers to the Varg, and that still 13 men as before. And a secondary, right? So you slap block on the Varg, and then you kind of like try and disrupt with the VARG and yeah, do that. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how much they're played. I suspect they'll be played quite a bit less now, because people will be, you know, looking at the new rosters and trying to find something new and fun out of that, rather than play a team which has probably been net nerfed. But yeah, I'm sure they'll be still played to a reasonable amount, and they're still strong, I think. So yeah, and they can't stall now either with the Vamps, because the Vamps always have to roll 2+, which is a kind of buff, I suppose. Although they're not really stalling anyway. But yeah. Okay, on to our last team, which is Wood Elves. So Wood Elves are what they lost 2 catchers, which is kind of a bummer, because there were 2 schools of thought previously. With Wood Elves, there was your kind of 2 catcher tree build, or there was the sack off the tree max catchers. Let's go for it. Obviously, that isn't an option anymore, and I think you pretty much have to play with a tree now, especially because the meta's got more sort of violent and bangery with your mighty blows running around, your tackle mighties specifically. So what have I said is minimum viable? I've said minimum viable is 11 to 20. That gives you 11 players, and I said 5 primaries, so I think you can get away with relatively low skill allowance. What does that get you? 5 linos. We've got a thrower. We've got 2 catchers, 2 war dancers, and a tree man. We have 2 rerolls and an apo. So one of these skills is being spent on leader to get up to 3 rerolls. Then we have our strip ball dancer and our other dancer, which either gets tackle, sidestep, or frenzy, depending on how you like that happening. And then we've got, yeah, a couple more skills left, a couple of dodge linos, maybe a dodge and a wrestle lino, maybe a sidestep catch or something like that. Should be all right. I think, honestly, it's going to be a bit scary. I'm not going to be touching Wood Elves for a while, because I think OWA are going to be played a lot, and I think, yeah, the mighty tackles are scary. I mean, yeah, that's the way you lose games with Wood Elves, really. You take so much attrition that you your opponent is able to score early and go for the win, push for the win against you, or you just randomly fluff your offense because of a snake or something like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be scary at the start, but I still think this is viable and will get you some results. So for ideal, what I said, 1185, so it's a lot more money here. The chassis is the same. We're just adding another lino to it. We're still taking the leader, and then we've just got some skills to give on linos and stuff. So yeah, that's that's Wood Elves. That's all of the stars. Sorry, that's all of the rosters gone through. I'll just take us back to the front page of the document, which gives all the rankings again, in case you haven't seen this because you didn't watch the first video. So what is hot? Amazon's Necro. Absolutely outrageously good. Other than that, OWA Orcs, very good. Tomb Kings, I think, are going to be strong. Babs are still good. And it'll be interesting to watch Nurgle, because I think they're going to be played a lot. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play on the board. I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, peace, and I'll see you on the pitch. Evening.